Hi and welcome to this DCP web tutorial. In today's tutorial I'm going to be giving you a beginner's guide to using Microsoft Word. We'll be using the latest version in Office 365, so if you don't have that current version I would urge you to download and install it, or you can use previous versions because the workflow is very similar. So the goal of this tutorial is to set up a letterhead document for your business, but you can apply this same logic to other types of documents. So if you're studying at university or college and you need to write an essay, you can follow this same logic. You can use a lot of the features and the logic behind this particular tutorial and apply it to any type of document. It doesn't have to be a letterhead, but I think that's a good example of how to use Microsoft Word. We'll set up custom headers and footers, we set up continuation pages, we'll do style text formatting. So we do a lot of things like tables and bullet lists. So we learn a lot of the features of Microsoft Word that I commonly use every day in my own business. So I think that's a good approach. So let's start. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Word. Like I mentioned, I'm using Office 365, the latest version. So you've got all these different templates. You can go and experiment with these templates and you can use them. They're predefined ones. But I think it's a better approach for you to understand from a blank template. So we're going to click blank document here. So we've got a blank document. I just want to explain some of the features and the functionality, typical things that I use in my business pretty much every day when I'm creating Word documents. So first thing we should always do is save our documents. So let's go to File, Save As, and we'll click on this PC here and we'll click on More Options. We'll click on More Options. I'm going to navigate to my desktop, and on my desktop I've got this folder. It's just called Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word Beginner's Tutorial, and in here we need to give it a file name. So I'm going to call this template. Let's call it template-01. Now there's different options in here to select what you want. Now for me, I'm going to leave it as a Word document. We could save it as an actual template, a Word template, if we wanted to, but you know, for me it makes no difference because you're going to copy this document and reuse it again anyway. So we'll just save it as a normal Word document, but you can save it as a template. Maybe we'll show that a bit later, but for now let's just save it as a Word document. We'll click save. So we've got a blank Word document. What do we see on the screen? We've got all these little tabs across the top. Some of these we'll be using today, and we've got like the text editing features here. We can create indentation and alignment and bullet lists and formatting tables and font styles and all this good stuff. I want to set up a workflow for you that makes your life easy. That's kind of my goal today, is to set up an easy workflow for you. Now when I send documents to my clients, the first page typically contains your logo and your address on the right hand side. So you have your logo around here and the address down here. Then you may have some information in the footer. But the second page is called the continuation page. So when you get a document, typically in the post, and it's more than one page, the second page tends to not have the address. You won't repeat your address 100 times on 100 pages, right? You put it on the first page and then all the other pages afterwards don't have the address, but they may have the logo. So let's set up that logic and that workflow. As default, the margins that Microsoft set as the default document are quite wide. They're like 2 centimeters. So we're going to go to design. Actually, we're going to go to layout, and inside layout we've got margins here. I'm going to set them to narrow. That just sets it to 1 centimeter, and I prefer that because I can get more width on the document. I can add more content, and you know, you're wasting less paper at the end of the day, and you can get more content on the page. Now there's a little grey section here you can see on the side, and you'll also see another grey section on the bottom down here. This is space that's allocated for the footer and allocated for the header, and we want to create a custom header and footer for the first page, and then a different header and footer for the continuation pages. So if we've got 10 pages, the first page will be unique and all of the other pages will repeat the same header and footer across. This is how I do it in my business, and I want you to try and take that same approach. It will help you to get standardized documents, right, in your business. So to access the header, right now we're inside the page content. Right, we're inside the page content. To access the header, we need to double click up here, like along this grey section around here somewhere, in the middle, on the left. And when we double click it will say header here, and down the bottom it will say footer, you see. Now we're accessing the header and the footer content. Now with the header for the first page, we want the first page to be different from the following pages. So we're going to select this option here, different first page, and it says first page header now, and it says first page footer here. And we want to add a logo in here and add our address in here. There's a few different ways that you can do that, but the way I like to approach it is to go to insert, and we'll insert a table which contains one row and two columns. So we've got a table in here. We're going to put the logo on this side and our address details on this side. So let's click on this side here. In fact, let's get the logo in first. So I'm going to minimize this just for a second, and on my desktop I've got inside the folder the document we've just saved, and I've also got the logo. This is my DCP logo. So to get that into Microsoft Word, let's just open up Word here, and all we'll do is just drag and drop it in basically. So let's take it, drag and drop it into Word. So here's the logo. I've drag and dropped it into the table, into that particular cell. Let's just do that one more time. I'm dragging and dropping it in here, this position. It's in here, in the header. I just want to resize it and make it a bit smaller, something around this size, and we can adjust it afterwards, right? Now, what you might have is a problem. Really, when you speak to your designer or whoever's done your logo or your brand, you want to get a version of that logo which is on a white background, preferably, right? I print all my documents in black and white. I don't print in color. I've got a laser printer. I choose to use a laser printer, black and white. It just saves a lot of money. I don't have to keep going. I buy pretty much one ink cartridge every 2 years, rather than using an inkjet printer which uses a lot of ink and it costs a lot of money in the end, right? So laser print is pretty good if you just want to print general documents, and that's what I do in my business. So on the right hand side we want to add the address, but before we do that, what we really want to do is set out our styles for the content, the written content. If we do that now, it's going to help us in the future, because when we come to writing actual documents, we can easily format them very, very quickly. So what we'll do is leave the logo there, and we're going to double click inside of the content area here. Double left click, and that moves us out of the header because it's kind of grayed out a little bit, and now we're working inside the document. And we're going to go back to the home here, and across the top here you've got these different options for style. So if I were to type in just something like let's just type in example text here, right? Let me zoom in a little bit more for you. So I've got this text here. If I highlight it and say click these different options, you've got like heading 1, it's a different font style. You've got heading 2, you've got heading 3, and you've got like heading 4 and so forth, right? And for me, the styles in here are not the best. We want to keep a consistent font style throughout our document. So we want to use one font style and maybe different sizes and whether they're bold or not bold and so forth, right? So let's work with the normal first, normal here. Right now, if we right click on it and go to modify, we can see that it's set to Arial and it's set to 12. So I want to reduce that font style to 10 size, and the color is going to be automatic. You can set it to a different color if you want. It's just going to be size 10 automatic, and it's going to be Arial font, and we're going to click only in this document, new documents based on this template. So we're just going to leave it in this document and just click OK, and now it's font size 10 Arial. You can see that it's preset here, so we can just use this to format all of our text very, very quickly. This one button, right, for normal text. So let's actually write normal text in there, because then it will resemble what is above on this editor bar, right? So let's just type in normal, for example, right? And we'll hit the enter key, and the next one is no space. So let's just type in no space, and we'll select this text and we'll right click. We'll actually click on no space, click on it once, then right click format, and this is set to Arial. We're going to set it to 10, and it's going to be automatic. It's not bold, italic, or anything. You can see a little example of the text, what it looks like here, and we'll click OK. So now we've got normal text and no space. When we hit the enter key, the difference between these two is with normal text it will always add a space there. With no space it's exactly the same, but it will have no space basically. So we're going to hit enter twice, and we're going to type in heading 1, and we're going to type in, I'm going to use 3 headings, right? Heading 2, and we're going to type in heading 3. So normally 3 headings is enough. You can do 4 if you want, 5, 6, 7. It's up to you. You can see there's up to like 5. If you click 5, it will show 6 and 7 and 8 and so forth. But really, I just use 5 font styles: normal, no space, heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. And that's pretty much it. I'm good to go from that point. So what I'll do is select heading 1, and then I'm going to click on heading 1 here. I'm going to right click, modify, I'm going to set this to Arial, so I'll click on Arial. You can choose a different font, doesn't have to be Arial. And I want to set this to around size 14. And in the color I want to make it automatic, so it's always black. And I'm going to click OK. And now it's heading, that's the particular font style for that particular heading, the heading 1. Now we'll click on heading 2 and we'll left click on this heading 2 here, right click, modify, and we'll set that to Arial, and we're going to set it to size 12, and we'll make it automatic as well. So then you can see the formatting here, and we'll click OK. And now that's going to be our second heading, and we'll do the third one, which will be this one here. We'll click on it, right click, modify. We'll set that to Arial. We'll leave it as 10 size, but we're going to make it bold, and we're going to make it automatic, so it's black, and we'll click OK. So really these ones should be bold as well, right? So let's select them. Let's right click, modify, and set it to bold here on heading 1, and we'll select this one here as well. Heading 2, right click on it, modify, and we'll set that to bold as well. So now we've got all of our formatting done. So when we come to format the document, we're typing out information. If it's a heading 1, we can just click heading 1. If it's heading 2, 3, normal text, and no space. Now we can just actually select all of this information and delete it. We can just delete it, and we can click on save, because now it's predefined for us. So we're almost setting up a template, right? A style format that we're going to use for all future documents. And you can modify this style document, you can change it, and you can manipulate it a little bit. But for now, we just want to standardize everything so it's seamless. Okay, so we've added this logo in here, and we wanted to add the address. The reason why I didn't do it straight away is because I wanted to do the formatting first, so that when we add the address, it's at the correct font size and style and so forth. But we might modify it a little bit in the header anyway. Do a little custom one, because in the header we'll only ever write this once and never have to write it again. So to get back to the header, we're going to double click up here, and then we're going to click on this right side box, and we're going to right align our text. So we're going to go back to home and click right align. We're going to type in the address and maybe a phone number here, right? So I'm just going to make up this road. Let's just call it 55 Summer Road, which will be in East. Let's do actually Stratford, right? Stratford, which is in London, E15 4DF. So that's the postcode there. And I'm going to hit the enter key twice to leave a gap, right? And in here, I'm going to type in telephone, and I'm just going to make up this phone number, right? Some phone number here. Now, this particular text here, it's kind of breaking the rules a little bit. We made these default text, but that's really for our content. So for the header, we could make a custom style for this, but we're only going to write this in once here. So all I'm going to do is just reduce the font size to around 8 point, right? 8 point size. We can make it around 10, but I think 8 is going to be big enough, right? And then we will, let's see, what we want to do is just reduce the size of the logo a little bit, just a little bit, but we want to maintain a line down here. We want a gap here, you see, between the telephone number and here. And it's this logo that's affecting how much space is below the telephone number. It's the size of the logo. So let's just reduce the size of the logo to around here, and I think that's pretty good. And what we're going to do is left click on the side here. That highlights the table itself, and we don't want that table to be seen when we print it. So we're going to click here, and we're going to say no border, but we want a line underneath, just underneath the information. So we're going to click back here and say bottom border, and then when we left click outside, we've got our header done. We've got a logo and we've got our address details. This is good. So let me show you a problem that you might have, and I'm going to show you how to fix it quickly. So let's just quickly go to the web browser, and this might be a problem for you, but I'm going to show you how to fix it. I'm just going to go to my website. This is a site that I'm working on at the moment. It's not live yet, to be fair, but I just want to go in here and go into the portfolio, and we'll click on, let's go to logo design. I've got all these different logos that I've done for my clients. So let's pick, let's say for example, this catering line, yeah? So here's the example of the logo. And I'm just going to drag and drop that into this folder here, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. Now, you can get your graphic guide to do this. So if I drag and drop this logo into here, I'm going to show you how to fix it in Word document, but you can also ask your graphic designer, if you have one, access to one, how to fix this logo properly so that you can easily, seamlessly drop it into the Word document. So what's the problem with this logo? If I open up the Word document, I'm just going to drag the logo into this example. So imagine this is your logo, right? I'm going to drag and drop it into the content. And let's just resize it, it's a bit big. Let's resize it to this size. Now if I were to use this logo inside of this area here, let's just go here and let's just make a copy of this one. Let me paste it down here so I can reuse it quickly afterwards, right? So I'm going to go into here, select this logo and delete it. I'm going to click on this logo and copy it and paste it into here. Now because this logo has a lot of white spacing above and below, you know, if you resize it, if we were to resize it, we could probably get away with it like this. It's not too bad, but your logo might have massive white spacing around the edges. So I'm going to show you to fix that in a Word document. So let's select this logo and delete it. This is kind of a bit beyond the beginner's part of this tutorial, you could say, but I think it's worth you knowing this, right? So let's say you've got a logo like this. Imagine the white spacing is quite large. You want to reduce the white spacing. You want to crop it so that it's got less white spacing. To do that, you can just click on the logo, right click on it, and then do crop here, crop. And when you click crop, you get these tools to crop down the logo, right? So you can drag to the side and you can reduce the white spacing. So we're just going to drag and just reduce the white spacing here, especially from the bottom. We're going to leave a little bit of white spacing from the bottom, but not too much. So we want some white spacing, but not as much as what we had in the original file. Once you've done that, you can just hit the enter key. Now you can see the white spacing is minimized. So when we can press Ctrl X to cut this, or we can copy it, press Ctrl C, go back up to here. This is where that table is. We'll paste it, and when we resize it, now it's going to resize really nice, and it's going to have the gaps and everything's going to look much better. You can imagine if you had a lot of white spacing below or a lot of white spacing around the logo, it's not going to work in here, right? So that's how to fix it directly in Microsoft Word. So I'm going to click that and delete it. Again, that was a bit beyond the scope, but I wanted to show you how to do that quickly. I'm going to click my logo, cut it, and just paste it back in here. And that should be good to go, right? Everything's good to go. I'm going to double click outside, and our header is pretty much done. But we're going to repeat this header on subsequent pages, but without the telephone number. Before we do that, we might as well fix the footer, right? We'll work on the footer next. Okay, so remember that we're working on the first page, right? This is what Microsoft is considering to be the first page. When we double click up here, we've got first page header. So if we go down to the bottom, we've got this grey section. We can double click here, and this will be the first page footer. We want to insert a table here. This time we're going to insert a table that contains 2 rows. In fact, we'll do, let's do 2 rows and 2 columns, yeah, like this. 2 rows, 2 columns. You can see the footer is taking up a lot of space. So I'm going to double click outside, and we can see that in here. And I'm just going to reduce the size here. Actually, we have to do that while we're, let's undo that, Control Z. Let's do Control Y. So we've got the footer here. Let's double click inside, and we have to reduce it here. We have to drag it down here, right? Just reduce the amount of space that it's taking at the bottom here. Let's just bring it down to something like this. So you can just, every time you drag here and let go, it moves you back into the document, right? So you have to double click and then just drag it down a bit. And I don't want it to take so much space. I want to use this space here, utilize that space for written content. So we've got the footer down here. Let's double click inside, and this first row, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to right click and select merge cells. So we've got like 1 row of data here. In fact, we might merge both of them. Let's see how it works out. So let's go to home, and I want to put my website address here. So I'm going to center align, and I'm going to type in www.dcpweb.co.uk, and I'm going to highlight this and then right click on it. And let's see, in fact, what we do is we'll highlight the text, and we'll go to insert, and we're going to insert a link here. So we'll click that, and then it's going to ask me the address here. So I'm going to type in https://www.dcpweb.co.uk. When you type that in, the display text is going to change here. So I just want to delete the HTTP part and delete the backslash. So it just says dcpweb.co.uk, but when you click on it, it goes to this link here, and click OK. And now it's nicely formatted, And if we have, really the idea is that we create these documents and we don't send these documents to the client. We convert them into a PDF file, and that PDF file will have a clickable active link here. On the footer down here, really what I want to do is put an example of a company number and a company VAT number, because normally a document might contain the company number and the VAT number. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. We've got two columns. We could put one on this side and one on this side, or we can just center it underneath, and I think we just center it underneath. So let's highlight this. We can right click and merge it so it's just one column or one row, and we'll insert again we'll go to the center line here and we'll type in company number, and I'm just going to make this one up, right? So we just do like 1590077, whatever that company number is, right? And then we'll do 1 2 3 spaces. We'll put a dash, which is like the hyphen, right? And then 1 2 3 spaces, and then we'll type in VAT. Might do that in caps, VAT number, and then we'll just make up a VAT number. So it'll be something like this. So that'll be the company number and the VAT number. You can see the font is quite large in here, so we're just going to customize this and we're going to reuse it for subsequent pages. Now the website address and this company number sitting very, very close together. So I'm going to click on the right hand side of this. In fact, before we do that, let's just highlight everything. So we can do that in two ways. Let's left click here and drag down. That just highlights all the information inside here. And we can go to the home and we're going to set this to something like 8-point size, right? 8-point. And we want to left click on the right hand side of this website address, hold down the shift key and hit the enter key once, and that will put a blank space underneath. And that will just separate this information. And what you can actually do is, if you don't want that blank space to be so big, you can actually go to the font style and you can reduce it. Maybe you can set it to something like 4, and then the gap will be much smaller. Can you see? It's much smaller. So we don't want a massive gap between them. But we're using the font style here to determine that particular row of information, what font style. So if we use to type, it will be really small. But we're not using it for that purpose. One thing I would advise is hit the spacebar once down here. So underneath here, hit it once, and that will assign that row, that particular font style to that piece of information, or that row there. That's a little trick for you, right? We also want to put a page number. But on the first document, we don't want a page number. The first document will be our introduction, and then subsequent pages will have page numbers. So let's deal with that in the next document that we create, or the next page. So what's wrong with this document right now? I think what we'll do is actually left click on this side, hold down the shift key and hit enter once as well, and that will put a row above, right? A piece of information above, and we're going to set that to 4 as well. The font style will set it to 4 and hit enter. So there's a little space above. Let's just try that again. Let's set it to 4. So it doesn't seem to want to. It doesn't really matter, to be fair. Normally you can type it. In fact, let's type the letter A, select it, and set it to 4. Now it will work. But instead of having the letter A there, we're going to delete that. Or let's just put a space bar in. Let's put one space in. Let's try and use the space to set the height here to 4. Now that won't work either. So we're just going to leave it like this. Doesn't matter. It's not that important, to be fair. Right. But we want the blank space above, yeah? We want this blank space. So let's highlight this. Let's go to the drop down and select it to no border. And then we're going to highlight just the first row. So we're going to click on, there's 2 rows here of data, right? Just highlight the first row, and then we'll set a top border here, top. So I wanted the gap. Let's just double click outside. So we're back in the document. I wanted that gap to be a bit smaller, but it's fine. I don't think it's a problem, yeah? We've got a website address here, company name or company number, VAT. We've got a logo here, and we've got the address here. Okay, cool. Let's click save. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is actually work on the continuation page. So if I hold down the control key and use my mouse wheel, I can zoom in and out, or you can use this tool down here to zoom in and out of the document. Just want to zoom out a little bit, and we want to click here. So we're inside the document, right? Writing content inside the document. We're going to go to insert, and we're going to do page break. So that creates a new page, inserts a new page. So it doesn't matter where your cursor is positioned, it's going to automatically create new page, a blank page. Now this second page, you'll notice that when we created it, it doesn't have the same header and it doesn't have the same footer, because we set this first one to have a unique header and footer. We want to copy a lot of information from this first page and use it on the second page anyway. So what we'll do is double click on the header up here, and we're going to click on this little icon in the top left hand corner. When you double click, because this contains a table, there's a little option here to select the whole table, and we can select it, then we can right click and copy. So we want to move to the other page, this one here, and double click in the header. Let's just zoom in for you. Here, so we're on this header here, right on the second page. I'm just going to right click and select this option, paste this option right here, keep formatting, right? And we'll click and paste it. So we've got basically two headers that are the same, but remember we said we don't want the address to be here. So let's highlight that address and delete it. So that's job done. Let's double click inside the content down here. And if we zoom back out, we can see the pages side by side and they're positioned identical in terms of the line. So everything's nicely formatted, but this one doesn't have the address. We don't want the address on all the subsequent pages, only on the first one. This is why when we create that first page, we tick this option off, different first page, right? That's what made it unique. All other pages will inherit the same header and footer. So what we'll do is do the same for the footer. So let's scroll down. We'll double click in the footer down here. Let's double click. And we'll click on the same icon to highlight the table. And we'll right click and copy. To highlight the table, you can do it in two ways, right? So let's zoom in this. This is the table here. So we're in the first page footer. It says first page footer. We're in the first page footer section. You can click on this little icon. It might be a little bit hard for you to see on my screen. It's like a little crosshair icon right here. That will highlight it. Or you can just left click and drag down. But if you click here, you know that you're copying the whole table. Let's right click and copy. And then we'll scroll down to the second page. And we'll double click on the footer down here. And then just right click and paste. Paste formatting here. So if we double click inside the content area and zoom right out, hold down the control key, we'll see everything is nicely aligned out, right? But really this footer on the second page, you may or may not want page numbers, but I kind of like to put page numbers. So this first page doesn't have a page number. It's not page 1. This is actually page 1. So it depends on how you're working your documents, right? If you're doing it for university or doing it for some sort of essay, then you may want this one to be page 1. But in my case, when I'm writing documents for business, the first page is like an introduction, and then the second page might have a page number, and the third and fourth. So I'm going to show you both ways really on how to do this. But let's assume that we don't want the first page to have a page number, only the second page, and then the third and the fourth page afterwards. So let's double click on the footer section down here. We're going to zoom right into it. So I'll hold the control key and use the mouse wheel to zoom right in. And what I want to do is insert a row above and put a page number in it. So I'm going to right click and then go to insert. So the cursor right now is clicked just above the website address here. I'm going to right click, insert, row above. So it's going to create a row above, and inside this row I want to have a blank space above it. So I'm going to click here and then hold down the shift key and hit enter. And that will ensure there's a blank space right above. And I'm going to click on this row down here, the one below. And I want to go to home and then right align. And then I'm going to go to insert, page number, and I'm going to do current position, and I'm going to select accent bar 2 here. Well, you can do any of these page numbers, right? You don't have to do that one. It's entirely your choice, but we'll use this one. And when we add it, it's going to add the page, and it's going to add an accent bar here, and then the page number. This happens to be page 2, right? Because the first page is at the introduction page. It doesn't have a page number, but it is page 1 in theory. But we want to format this font here. So let's select it. Let's select this page, the word page, and I'm going to go to home, and we're going to set it to, let's see, we'll set it to normal here. So we click on that normal formatting, but I want to make it a bit smaller to size 8. This accent bar, I don't really want it there. So I'm going to delete it. Just select it and delete it. And we're going to have page 1, 2 spaces, or 1 space, and then the page number. The page number I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to set that to normal as well. But I want to set it to font size 8 as well. So these are all font size 8 if you remember, and this is now font size 8 as well. So there's one little problem. We've got 2 lines now showing because we inserted a row. So we want to get rid of one of these lines. You could leave it there if you want, but I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to click on the table, select the whole table, go to the drop down and say no border, and then go to the drop down and say top. Now we've got a page number in there. So let me show you an example of how to set this page number to 1, because right now it says it's 2, which in theory is correct, because if we zoom right out, this is actually page 1, this is page 2, and this is page 3. It says page 3 there, can you see? Page 3. So really we want this one to say page 1 and then this one to say page 2. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. The way to do that is let's highlight this page number. Let's zoom right back into this document so you see it clearly. So we're just going to highlight the page number here, just the page number. We're going to go to the insert, and in insert we've got page number here. We're going to click on it and we're going to go to format page number here. When we do that, we're going to click start, and we're going to start the page number on the first page as 0. So the first page will actually be page 0, and then if we click OK, this second page becomes page 1. So if we zoom out a little bit, we can see now, let's just zoom out here. So we can see this is actually page 0, but it doesn't have a page number. Now this becomes page number 1, and this one becomes page number 2. So let's do another example where you want this to be page 1, this one to be page 2. Because you may want it to be that way. Now to do that, we can be a little bit smart here, right? So what we'll do is double click down here. We'll double click. In fact, we have to be a bit careful. Let's think about this. Yeah, we'll double click down here on this footer. Let's try it this way. Double click. We'll highlight this table, and we're going to right click and copy it. Then we're going to double click on page 1. We're going to highlight that table and hit the delete key to delete it. And then let's just click on this table and then hit the backspace key. That should delete the table completely, right? It's all gone. Let's right click here and paste with formatting. Now you can see page 1 here, right? But we can select this and delete it, and it won't affect this page number because the footers are different. But let's say we want this to be page 1. All we'll do is highlight this 0, go back to insert. Let's go to, let's see, where's it gone, page number? Page number here, format page number, and this time we'll set the start to 1 and click OK. Now that becomes page 1 and this becomes page 2. Alright, I think it's worth cutting and pasting the footer over because now they're actually aligning quite well. So if we were to zoom out, let's say 3 on a row, we can see all of the footers align nicely and all of the headers align nicely. So it's nice clean documents. When you print it out, it's consistent. But if you don't want the page number to be 1 on this first document, you want this one to be page 1, then all you need to do is double click on the footer in page 1, the first page. Let's zoom right in and we'll highlight that page number and just hit the delete key, get rid of it. We can double click outside of the document and we'll zoom right back out and we'll zoom into this page 2 footer, page 2, and we'll highlight the number 2. And remember, all we did is we went to insert, page number, format page number, and set the start, the first page will be 0. So this one will now become number 1. So this is entirely your choice. You can see there's no page number written here, so it doesn't say page 0. We don't want it to say that, right? We only ever put the page number on the first page if we want it to say page 1. So if we double click outside and zoom out, we've now got consistent footers. There's no page number here, but this says page 1 and page 2. So it's entirely your choice. Sometimes the first page is almost like your introduction pages or an explanation or something different, and then the actual documentation starts on page 1 and 2. Now, in my example, or in my business, normally I'll have a page number here on page 1 because I normally just start straight away with a specification about the document or whatever it might be. I'm not sending like an invoice or electric bill. Imagine if you get an electric bill, or if you get a good example is when you get a bank statement, right? So when you get a bank statement, normally the first page might say, please find and enclose your bank statement and some information about it. But then the actual page numbers for the bank statement are page 1, 2, 3, and 4. But in my case, when I do documentation for clients and I'm doing specifications, I want this to be page 1, page 2, and page 3. I want it to be that way. So to fix that, we'll double click, copy this page number, just copy literally this page number here, and we'll double click down here, and we'll paste in the page number. So this now says page 0. If we see carefully, it says page 0. We're going to want that. We're going to select it, go back to insert, page number, format page number, and we'll say page 1 and click OK. Now the first page is page 1, the second page is page 2, and the third page is page 3. If we click here and go to insert blank or page break, the next page will be page 4. If we click insert break, now we've got pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of the pages are consistent. The first page contains the address. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth page do not contain any addresses. That's how I like to format my documents, but at least you've got a good understanding of how to do this now, right? If you want the address to be there, then all you do is just copy it from the first page and paste it here, and then it will be on every single document. You can just go in here. If you happen to want it to be there, you can just copy that and then go into the second page and go to here and paste it. Now all of the other pages will inherit that from that second page, right? Nice and easy. So we can select this and delete it. In my documents, I don't do that. So let's double click outside on the first page. Let's go to save. Okay, so in the next part of this tutorial, I want to show you how to start formatting text in your document. Because once you've got a fundamental structure in your document, you can make copies of that document and create new documents from it very, very quickly. So typically in my business, I do a lot of web development work, do a lot of logo designs, graphic design, internet marketing, lots of different strategies to help businesses grow, right? That's my goal, is to design websites, but also to make them rank high in the search engines or present content well to the customer. So let's take a typical example of how I would lay out a Word document. Then you can use that same logic in your business. So if you're running let's say a business consultancy, and you're helping people to grow their business, find more customers, then you can use this document in that same logic. The formatting is fundamental to the document, because you want all your documents to be consistent. If you send a client a document today and you send them the one tomorrow or in a week's time and they look completely different formats and the styling is different, there's no synergy in your business, and you want synergy, right? Especially with your if you're at university and you're writing documents as well, then it would be nice that your documents are formatted the same. So if you're writing an essay today, you'd write your essay, and then in 3 weeks time you've got to do another project. It would be nice if your essays were consistently formatted as well. You can present them better, everything will look better, right? So let's zoom in onto this first page. I'm going to left click here inside the content, just double left click, so you're inside the first page content. Really, these other pages, we can get rid of most of them. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just get rid of them, right? So we'll click down here on this page here, and we'll hit the backspace key on the keyboard. So we'll hit the backspace key, and that will start to remove these pages. Really, we just want to work and focus on the first page. Just keep hitting the backspace key on your keyboard until you get back to the very first page. We'll focus on this page, and if we get to a second page, it will generate that page for us with the headers and the correct footers and everything for us, right? I'm going to show you how I do this in my own business. So I'm going to hold down the control key and zoom right in so you can see this a bit more clearly. And when I send a document to a client, the first thing I want to put there is the date. That's for my own reference and for theirs as well. So if I create a second version of this document or a third version, I change the date. Typically when I'm doing website specifications for clients, I may do a first specification and they say, okay, I want some extra things, I want to remove some things. So I'll put a different date there and a version number for the document. So what I'll do is go to, let me show you the wrong way to do it, and I'm going to show you the right way to do it afterwards, right? Because I want to show you how to see errors and then how to fix them afterwards. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to write a line. I'm going to type in the word, let's see. I think we've got a table still in here. Okay, so let's just do that again. So I'm left aligned here. I'm going to write a line, and I'm going to type in date, and I'm going to type in, what's today? Well, I'm doing this on a Sunday for you, 17th or the 11th. Got nothing better to do on my Sunday. Why not? So let's type in the date here, and I'm going to hit the enter key. And we're using normal, right? So when we use normal, it adds a blank row, it adds a blank space, and then the next line here. And we're going to left align. Now if you notice that the date is really not aligned with this address here, So we want to try and get it exactly aligned with the address. I'm really picky when it comes to formatting and stuff like that. I want everything to look really consistent, right? So to fix that, let's highlight this date and press Control X to cut it. And we're back to our first line here. We're going to insert a table. So we're going to table and one row. Just one row, one column. And then if we paste the date into here, and then hit the backspace key to get rid of the extra line, now the date is exactly aligned with the data above it, right? The telephone and address and stuff. So if we left click down here, we'll be into our document again. And really we don't want to show this table. And we don't want the date to be a different size to the content above. So what we do is highlight the date first. We know that this was size 8. So let's set it to size 8. Like this, so it's at least consistent with the content above. We'll click on the table here. We can click to highlight it, go to the drop down. Now one thing to note, the last option you selected in the drop down will be the default button here, so you can actually just click it and that will remove it, or you can click down here and say no border. So now that date nicely aligns with the content above. I know it's really picky, but that's kind of like how I like to do things. So we're on this row down here. Remember, there's a table here, and we're going to click outside of the table, so we're in the row content, the information, the body of the document. And I want to show you how not necessarily quickly, it's going to take some time, but as we're going through typing in the information, I'm going to show you how to format it in a nice clean style. So then we can use this as almost like a master template for future documents. We're going to create them for another specification for a project, or you're doing another essay for university or college, or if you're writing some sort of proposal to a client to work on a project for them, you can use this same document over and over and over again, right? Because normally your work is pretty consistent. Web design is web design, right? So we need a case example. It's better to work from a case example. So we're back to my website. Let's click on portfolio. You can see I work on lots of different projects here. I've built hundreds and hundreds of projects for my clients, web development stuff, lots of logos as well, do loads of logos. But let's focus on the web project because it's a little bit more complex. So we'll click on view all and we'll scroll down, we'll find something nice. Let's say this Simplicity AV, right? I quite liked working on this project. It looks pretty cool, it's a nice website. And we'll click view website. So we can see the website, but imagine that I'm proposing to the client to build this website, right? So I haven't actually designed it or done anything yet. So we'll normally document what this website is going to function like. We can see the navigation here, that will give us a bit of information as well. So the first thing we'll do is copy this this word simplicity. Just copy that text there. You can think about your own business. You can actually go to this website, simplicityav.co.uk. You can follow me off of this website, or you can find a different site, or use your own website, or think about a project that you're delivering for a client, and so forth. So we'll minimize, and the first thing I want to write in here is project name. What is the name of this project? It's going to be called Simplicity AV. Now Simplicity with a capital S, and then we'll go to the back of this line and hit the enter key, and automatically it's going to add a line space, right? A blank space, because we're using normal font or normal style. We're going to highlight this, and this is a title, this is a main title, so we're going to set it to header 1, Simplicity AV, right? Now we want to state what type of project is this. So we're going to do project type, and it's going to be a DCP custom CMS solution. And I'm going to highlight that. In fact, before I highlight it, I'll hit the enter key, because then the formatting is already done for the next row. I'll highlight it and set it to heading 2, or I can set it to heading 1 again, or heading 3, depending on how you want to format it. It's entirely your choice, but let's set it to heading 2 at the moment. Now heading 2 looks a little bit on the large size, doesn't it? So we can select it, and we can right click on it, modify, and it's set to 12 bold, right? So what we might do is, in fact, we'll leave this at 12 bold. It looks a bit big in this document because we zoomed in quite a lot. We zoomed in at 180%. So if we were to zoom out to 100%, you'll see it isn't actually that large. It's actually quite consistent. I think to use like larger font styles is better in the document anyway. It's easier for people to read, the address and details and so forth. But we want nice consistency in here. You could put your mobile number in here if you wanted to. That might be a nice thing to do. So we can just do like a slash and do 838. So we might put a mobile number in there as well. I don't think I'll do that in this example, but you can if you want, right? So we've created this second title, the first one, and now we want to really state. Typically, what I'll do now is state what domains are going to be on this project. So we'll click up here and hit the enter key. Now when we hit the enter key, you can see it's not adding another line space, so we'll click normal and we'll hit the enter key. Let's see how we'll do this. There's a couple of ways to do this really. What we could do is we could highlight this row. To fix it correctly, we can right click and go to modify, and inside modify we're going to go to format and paragraph here. And if you look at the paragraph, it says before 2 point and underneath no spacing underneath. So we want some spacing, a little bit of spacing above, but a little bit more below. So we're going to set it to 6 point here and click OK, and then click OK. Now when I click down here, there's a gap. We want that gap to be there. We don't want the next piece of text to be so close. So in here we want to type in domain names, and we'll hit the enter key and we'll make it a bullet. And we're going to go back to the website and we'll copy the domain name, copy this, Control C to copy, and we'll just paste it in here. And we're going to hit the enter key and paste it in one more time. Why did I paste it twice? Because most websites will have more than one domain. They'll have a .co.uk and a .com. If you're starting a business and you're planning on starting a business and you're just about to register your domains, I would strongly advise that you register a .co.uk and .com. The last thing you want is another business halfway across the planet to register a domain that's exactly the same as yours. You have a .co.uk, they have a .com. Your customers start typing in .com and they see a completely different business. Not good, right? So to format this, we'll just right click on it, the second version. We'll go to edit hyperlink, and in here we'll just type .com. So we just type it to ava.com and then .com here as well, and click OK. Now it's a .com. You can see there's a space here and I don't really want that space. So I'm going to highlight domains. I'm going to set it to no space. Right, and then I might just make this bold, but actually I can make it heading 3, which is actually the default font style, but in bold. That's why we made a heading 3. Now you can see how this formatting up here. We don't have to keep going to bold, italic, and do all these things up here. We just click the options up here and our formatting is done for us. Let's left click here and then hit the enter key once and hit it twice, and then that will make a new line. Let's save this, and the next thing I want to write in here is the let's see, we want to type in, what would I typically do in my business, right? So I want to do website navigation, and we'll put 2 dots and hit enter, and we'll set it to website to type it in quick. So if you type something in wrong and you're not sure how to spell it, just right click and then select the relevant word from here, website, right? And then we'll do a bullet. So this website's going to have a home page. It's going to have, let's actually check. So I'm going to align this to the left for the minute. I'm just going to go back to the website. Let's go back and align on this side, and we can click on here. We can actually see what's here. So we can do home services, our process system pre-construction, right? Retro fit, let's type that in correctly. Who we work with in who we work with is who we work for in the news, and contact us. Let's do in the news, contact us, and then normally underneath contact us I'll do it, I want to indent, right? So if I click contact us, I can see there's a form here and there's a map, right? And there's some sort of newsletter subscription, there's some like social icons, and there's social bookmarking. There's a few different tools in here. So let's maximize this. We can see the whole document here, and let me just do that one more time. So contact us, I'm going to hit the enter key, and then I want to indent this. So I'm going to use this increase indent, right? This button here, and that will push the indent in. And you can also do that by holding down the shift key, the alt key, and use the left and right arrows. So normally I use that shortcut. It's really useful, right? Especially when you're doing long bullet lists. Just hold down the shift key, the alt key, and then use the left and right arrows. That really helps a lot to speed up, so you don't have to keep clicking up here, but you can click here as well. And here we're going to just type in, let's just type in Google Map form processing and newsletter. I think the newsletter subscription was on all the pages, so let's just check that's correct. Let's click on the logo, and it's actually on every page, and so is the social bookmarking. So normally I document that separately because it's consistent everywhere. It's not only on the contact page, right? But that's form processing and so forth, right? We just might write just contact details. So this information is for two purposes. Number one, it tells the developers that are working on the project, so when my staff working on this project, they know automatically we've got to add a Google Map, and we've got to add a form processing, and we've got to add contact details. So they know that information needs to be there. Some clients don't want the contact details to be there. They just want a form. Some people don't want a Google Map because they work from home and they want to put their address there and so forth, right? So let's if you're inside content, let's say we're around here and we're formatting and you want to get to the end of the line, just hit the end key on your keyboard, end, and that will take you to the end of the line, right? So that's a nice quick shortcut for you there. And let's see, let me just check one thing quickly. Okay, so we're at the end of this document or this line. We can hit the enter key once, and we want to come out of the bullet list, so we hit it twice, and it's going to indent back again, and we hit it a third time, and that will move us out of the bullet list system. This really, I want to make it a title, so let's click it, and we want to set it to heading 3, and heading 3 has no space there, right? So I like to have the title and then the bullet straight underneath like this. If you want a space there, then you can go and format heading 3, go to modify, go to format paragraph, and you can add a space here. Let's say you want to make it 6, click OK, and then default it will have this space there. So that looks quite nice as well, yeah? Formatting is consistent, that's really important. Now, normally I document other requirements for the client. And we'll get on to some more interesting things in a moment, but I actually want to show you how I do this in my business. So you can now start to think about the structure in your own company, right? Or if you're doing a document for university and so forth. We're learning how to use bullets. We're learning how to do the page formatting, the titling, how to format quickly the titling. This is what I'm trying to help you to understand. So here we're going to type in other requirements. And we'll hit the enter key, and we'll click this, and we'll set it to heading 3. And then, you know, the gap has been reduced here. We can do a bullet. And in this one, we're going to do social media icons / links, because I know that's on that website. We're going to do MailChimp newsletter subscription, and I spelled that wrong, right click, subscription. And then we wanted, what else did we have on that site? We want add this.com social bookmarking, right? And then the client might want a logo design, and they may also want something like this. So this is basically what you can see on the website. We've got social bookmarking, we've got MailChimp, we'll add this, and we've got logo designs. Where do we see that on this website? If we go back, we can see down the bottom here we have the social bookmarking. If I refresh it, on the desktop version it shows down the side here. If we reduce the size, it goes to mobile, then it shows at the bottom. We've got an image slider here, so we should put that in the document. Right, so we want image slider, and then we might state that that's only on the home page. It's not on every single page. So if we go to a different page, let's check it, services, we can see it doesn't have an image slider, it just has a graphic at the top, and it's nicely laid out, and the document is nicely laid out. It's pretty cool, right? Nice website, I like this website. So we can see there is social media and social media links here. So we click on these, it goes to the Simplicity website, the Facebook and YouTube and Pinterest, and you've got the newsletter subscription down here. Okay, let's minimize this, And let's in fact go to the contact us page, and we can see one more thing here. We've got Google reCAPTCHA running here, so we can see Google reCAPTCHA. So we should write that in the document. We can just put it underneath here, Google reCAPTCHA. So why do I write all this information in this document? When I send it to the client knows exactly what they're getting. Right, and when they read through this and they say, what is Google reCAPTCHA? They don't understand what it is. I have a conversation with them and I explain to them that is going to stop people from doing spam submissions or bots spamming your form, and you get 100 submissions a day, and it's all crap. And out of them 100, maybe 2 are real clients and the rest are just spam. It's just pure spam. So Google reCAPTCHA will help to prevent that. It won't prevent all of it, but it will help to prevent it. Why do we have social add this social bookmarking tool? When customers come to the website, if they like it and they want to purchase a product and they enjoy the experience, maybe they will social bookmark and share that on their Facebook page, and maybe some other people will purchase the product, right? We've got logo design. That's coming to some of the services that I provide. This is not website design, it's logo design, but I wouldn't write a whole different document just about logo design. I just put it in this document and then document it below. So let's carriage return, and normally this will be like the first page of content, and if you didn't want to write any more here, you can just go to insert page break and start the next piece of content, right? But let's think about what else we have here. Other requirements. So I think this is pretty good. This is pretty good for this particular project. It's highlighting this because it believes it to be a question, right? Who we work for, a question mark. But in the actual navigation on the website, it just says who we work for. So don't worry about errors like that. Those are not so important. But if there's a grammatic error in your document, like reCAPTCHA, that's actually how it's spelled on the Google website. So you might see errors in here, but don't worry about them if they're not spelling mistakes, let's say. Okay, so what I want to do now is actually insert a new page, because on the next page I want to start writing some detailed information. We're going to create a table about the form processing. So let's go to insert page break, and when we insert page break, it goes straight to the next page. It doesn't have the date there, it doesn't have the phone, the address and the phone number. You can see that's missing because we wanted it to be formatted like that, but it says page 1 here and it says page 2 here. So I'm going to type in contact form fields, yeah, and we're going to highlight this. We don't even have to actually highlight, I don't believe. We can just click anywhere and just say it's a heading 3, and then it will be a heading 3. We'll click here and hit the enter key, and every time you hit the enter key, it's going to go back to the normal font, because it assumes, Microsoft Word assumes, that the next thing you're going to type is going to be normal font. So really here we want to detail what the fields are going to be for the contact form. And normally I work on some really complex projects where the form is actually in multiple steps, or it's more complex than this basic form on this particular website, but it's still worth us documenting and showing you how I create a table to do that. So let's insert a table, and the table is going to have let's just do 2 rows for now. We can do 1 row or 2 rows, doesn't really matter, but we do 2 rows and 3 columns. So in this first column we're going to do field name, and then in here we're going to do field type, and in here we're going to do notes, right? Notes, some general notes. We're going to click on the left hand side of the first column, click here, go to home and go to bold, and make those ones bold, the titles, yeah, the header titles. Then underneath here we're going to see what fields are on that website. So let's go to the contact page. We've got name, company, email, telephone, message. So we've got name, the person's name. Now you can see we need another row below, right? There's a few ways to get the row below. We can right click, go to insert row below. We can do it that way, or we can also, let me show you another way to do that. You can hit the tab key. When you hit the tab key on your keyboard, it moves to the next cell. Hit tab one more time, it will go to the 3rd cell, and when it gets to the 3rd cell, if you hit tab one more time, it's going to insert a new row. Now we know that we need more than 2 rows, right? So if we go back here, we can see that we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So there's another way to insert rows. You can click on this particular cell, the blank row, and then if you hover your mouse, you can see a little plus sign that appears here, right? So we can click once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Sometimes I insert way more than I need, and then I just delete what I don't want. Then it saves me having to insert row, insert row, insert row, right? So here we want name, and then I think it was company, and then I believe it was telephone, doesn't really matter the specific order, but email, and then message. Let's just check that's factually correct. Let's just go here. We can see name, company, email, telephone, message, exactly what we see here. So we know that the let's just correct that message. We know that the name here is going to be a text field, so we type in text field, and we can just a way to copy data without using the mouse. You can select the mouse and you can drag across like this and select the data like this, right? But I want to copy this and paste it below. So what I'll do is hold down the control key, the shift key, and use the left arrow, and that will highlight the whole word. And then I'll press the left arrow one more time and it will highlight the whole word. Now I want to copy this, so we press Control C to copy, and then I'll use the down arrow, and that moves me to the row below, and I'll press Control V, then down again, Control V, down again, Control V, and then down again one more time and press Control V. But I know factually that the message one is not a text field, it's actually a text area. Because if we go and look at the website, you can see you can type in a lot of information. On here you can only type in one row of information, but here you can type in lots of information. Type in, whole sentences and so forth. So it's not a text field, it's a text area. Now, when I work on lead generation projects, not typically just normal website projects, but some of the clients require for the information to be validated before it gets sent to the client. So I will write some notes in here. So the name, we can write a note and say something like minimum 2 characters, right? So we might write something like minimum 2 characters. Some people only have 2 letters in their first name. That's just the way it is. I don't know anyone on this planet that has 1 letter in their first name, but some people have only 2 characters in their first name. So minimum amount of characters that someone can type into this first name field is 2. Anything less than 2, it won't accept it, right? It will flag it an error and say please enter a correct name or something like this. Also, text characters only and hyphen. So in the name, people are never going to type in a number, they're not going to type in an @ sign for the name, a pound sign, a percentage, but some people have double-barreled names or hyphenated names, they have a hyphen in their name, so we'll allow only text characters and hyphens, right? So here I'm just documenting information. Now you can imagine in your business, you might be creating some sort of table like this and you've got the name. It could be a completely different set of information, a different logic, but what I want to try and help you to understand is how I use it, and then you can apply that to your own business, right? Company name field, that is just minimum 2 characters, because a company name may contain a percentage sign, it may contain some special characters, it may contain numbers, but we must make sure it has at least 2 characters in the company name. The telephone, we're going to use something called, in this example, we're going to use a telephone API validation, yeah? So we use a third-party service to validate the telephone number. I'm going to select this with my mouse, copy and paste it down, and I'm going to type in email validation. And in the message, let's just see, email validation. Now in the message, we'll just write free form text area, so they can type in anything they like, and you may set a minimum amount of characters they can type in, but that's a bit beyond the scope. But what I want to do is change the widths of these columns. Can you see? So I want to change this one and bring it back here. I'll click on this column here in between and drag it back a little bit to like here, and then I want to put a bit of extra information. So for telephone API and for email validation, I want to put a link to the website where this information can be obtained from. So I'm going to go back to the browser and I'm going to type in phone validator. So this is the service that I use. I'm going to right click, copy, minimize, and for the telephone I'm going to put the URL so the client can now easily click on that link and go and see what am I talking about, what is this telephone validation all about. They can go and check it, right? And email validator, same thing, same company, but just a different service. So now when I do this document and when I send it to my developers and when I send it to the client, everyone's on the same page, right? And this is how you want to try and document your projects. If you're working with many staff in your company, it's nice that they have that information to hand and your clients have that information to hand. For me, it's very, very important to document things quickly. Then there's no questions about what is being built. You know what you have to build, the client knows what they're getting, and everyone should be happy. So that's contact form. The reason I built this is to show you how to do the table formatting, right? You can do other things in here. Typically, I leave my tables just clean like this. I don't put all colors and all that bells and whistles on it. But you can click on the table here, click on here, and then go to, I believe, let's see, table design. And you can start to change the design here. They've got some pre-made designs, right? So you can have it like grayed out. Sometimes it's nice like this, like the grayed out rows, or without formatting, and all these different styles. You can click on here and you can see all the different styles that you have. So you've got all of these different permutations. So you can click something like maybe, let's see, like this, and then you've got like a black header. That looks pretty cool as well. That might work. That should print out okay on a black and white printer. You must also remember when people are printing documents, if they've got a black and white printer and you start putting lots of colors and stuff in there, then that might affect the readability of the document. But I don't want any of that. I don't want any of this formatting. So I'm going to click on this. Hopefully I can just click here and it will take me back to my original format. But I do want a table. I do want this table to show the borders around it. So I'm going to click here, go to home, go to the drop down and select borders, right? So now we've built this document, we're getting formatting in here. We're formatting the content in a nice way, and we're getting consistency in the document. So we can click normal here and hit the enter key, and that will give us some space below this table, so we can start writing some more content into here. Okay, so typically in my documentation for a website project, I want to state what the system requirements are for hosting a website. So let's just type in system requirements here, right? Because sometimes my customers want to host the website themselves and sometimes they want me to host it for them, but it's worth documenting so that everyone knows what's going on. If they've got a technical person on their side that understands hosting and all that good stuff, then this will be useful information for them. So we'll click system requirements here and we'll set it to heading 3 and we'll hit the enter key and then we'll make a bullet. I'm going to just do this quite quickly. I'm just going to write PHP 7, that's the programming language, and we want to do MySQL 5, that's the database, and then we want it to be hosted on a Linux Linux server, right? So those are just the base requirements. You need to be PHP 7, MySQL, and a Linux based server. There are some other requirements as well. They're more like technical requirements, but in essence, that's pretty much what the system requirements would be to host that. So if you go to GoDaddy offer different types of hosting. You want to make sure you pick the right one. You want a Linux based hosting. Really, this should say Linux hosting, yeah, rather than server. You don't need a whole server. Sometimes you just need just a hosting account. Depending on who you buy your hosting from, you need these particular requirements. So you might document some specific requirements for your type of project, right? Customers need to have a specific set of requirements. Now also, another thing that we need to document, which we haven't done, is development cost, right? So we can be a bit savvy here. So all we do, I'm going to do this pretty quick, so I don't want to make this long-winded, this part, so I'm just going to do a quick example. What we'll do is go to insert table and we just want 2 rows, and in here we're just going to write description, and on this side we'll write in fact we need 3 rows, right? So we made an error here. We want 3 rows, so we can just right click here, insert row, or sorry, column to the right hand side. So we're able to insert a column to the right hand side, right, quite easily. So now we've got 3 columns, a bit like the one above, but we changed the spacing between the columns. So in here we want description, then we want cost type, and then we want the cost itself. And we're going to remember we're in the last row now, so we can hit the tab key. That gives us a new row. We'll click on that new row and we'll move here and we'll just insert some extra rows so that we can work, and we delete what we don't want afterwards. So we'll click here, let's make it consistent, and let's go to bold. Let's click bold so it's just like the one above. the same similar formatting, and in here we'll just write website main build, yeah, and then that's really referencing all the information about the navigation and all the requirements. These requirements normally document them separately, so we'll do that in this example quickly. So website build, cost type, I say that it's fixed. It's a fixed cost. You know, the costs don't fluctuate unless the client changes the requirements, and the cost for this, let's just say, is £995, and always state plus VAT. Normally when you're doing business to business, you just type in the price and then you just say plus VAT at the end, and then afterwards when they accept the project, it's 995 plus the VAT amount. That's typically how we do business over here. I'm not sure in other countries how it's done, but that's how we do it. So website main build, then we know that the customer wants a logo design, and normally I do logo design, design times 3, so I'm going to make 3 different versions. It's a fixed cost. It's fixed, but it's also optional. So if the client doesn't want me to do the logo design, they've already, you know, if they already have one, I won't be quoting for it. But if they say, okay, you know, my cousin's a graphic designer, he can do it for like nothing, then I can't compete with nothing. But all I can do is price it as to what I need to price it to. So let's just say it's 145 plus VAT, yeah. And really, we should have documented a bit of information about the logo design. So let's do that quickly. Let's click here, development notes. Let's go to insert, page break. So we move all the development costs and stuff information down here. Let's just copy this title and paste it down here, and then change it to logo design. And in logo design, we'll create a quick bullet, and we'll just say, you can see that when I typed in the bullet, it's like indented over here. If I start typing, it's all the way over here, which is really strange formatting. Microsoft Word's doing its magic. So what we'll do is click normal, and then we'll click bullet, and it will be aligned correctly. So just be careful, sometimes it can be a bit funny. And if it does something strange like that, where you click bullet and it's all the way over here, which is completely wrong, click normal, and then click the bullet again, and it will be aligned correctly. So we do logo design times 3 custom. So you notice that also when I hit the enter key, there's no bullet here. The bullet will only appear when I start to type something. So I'm going to do custom designed vector based logo designed using Adobe Illustrator. So all vector based stuff is normally done in Adobe Illustrator. What we got, logo design, custom design, and then we might write something like supplied in the following formats, right? And then we do a colon here, and then we've got a new line here. But this line, we want to indent it in, so we can use this tool here. But if you remember, I said can hold down the shift key, the alt key, and use the right arrow. So now it's indented automatically, and then we can just type in something like AI file. So it's the original Adobe Illustrator file. Let's do that uppercase, and then we'll type in PNG high res, and then we might type in JPEG low res. And normally I'll supply it in other formats as well, but this is pretty good, right? You've got the original make file, you've got high res PNG. Maybe we'll type in high res PNG, then high res. Let's just go back here. Transparent. So PNG transparent, a low res JPEG, and maybe we'll even give them, being nice today, let's give them a high res JPEG. So there's information about the logo design, because if I'm going to put a price to this, and if I just say logo design times 3 fixed cost option £145, what exactly am I giving to the client? If I don't state clearly what I'm giving to them, they can expect anything, and expectations should always be fulfilled. So you might as well tell them up front, and it saves you a lot of time, right? So you've got social media links and icons, right? So normally I document this stuff. Just because you're doing the work doesn't mean you should, or just because you may not be charging for something doesn't mean you shouldn't document it. So social media, social links and icons, cost is not applicable, and then I put a pound sign here, not applicable. What I tend to find is if you state something in the document and tell the client they're not being charged for it because it's such a small amount of piece of work, but at least document it, so then at least they know they're getting value for money, right? You're going to do something, you're not charging them for it, or it might be absorbed in the main web build, right? But document it. Then we've got, what else have we got here? We've got MailChimp, add this. So really what we can do is just copy these. It might be just worth literally selecting all of them, copying them, go back down to here, and then we'll paste them down here somewhere, select them all and remove the bullets, and then we can just cut and paste them up. Right, so social media is done. Let's select that, delete it. Google reCAPTCHA, let's paste that into here. There's no cost related to that. Let's delete that blank space. Image slide on the home page. Let's click here, and I actually want to insert a row above and put it here because it's related to the website build, right? And you would charge a fee for this. It's a fixed fee. It's only on the home page. If they want it on every single page, then it has to be built a bit differently. When you've got singular words like this, if you want to highlight that particular word, just double click on it, press Ctrl C to copy, then you can paste it down. And then normally I'll just copy this. Let's be a bit lazy, right? We can just copy this, paste it down, and just change the price. And we'll just say it's £95 to do that particular piece of work. MailChimp newsletter subscription. So things that I'm not charging for, I normally put below, right? So let's click here, and we insert a row. This is MailChimp, and it's a fixed cost, and it's optional. You don't have to have that, but it's documented. So we'll just say that is something like £45 plus that. And then add this social bookmarking. The logo design is already done, so let's just delete that. And here, we'll insert, paste it in here. Let's go back a space. It's fixed cost, it's optional. And this is the social bookmarking. This is £95 plus that. Then your customer can look down. So when you're building this table for your business and you're itemizing things out, they can say, look, I want these things and I don't want these things. Then you can make a second revision of the document. I just highlight things in green that are going to be done, and things in red are not applicable to the project, but you leave it in the document because later in 6 months time they may come back and say, actually I want MailChimp and I want add this. You can just color them back again, send it back to your developers, move forward, and it's job done. Let's copy this row. So I'm going to select this whole row, click it, copy it, and I'm going to click here and paste it down. So I can copy whole rows of data and paste it down. And I'm just going to type Google Maps. That's it. There's no cost to it. We just go and use Google Maps, build that into the project, job done, because we did mention it around here, right here. So that's really the development cost documented, right? So we can highlight all of these rows, left click, highlight, select all of them and delete it. Now, that's pretty much the base of a project. Really, we could move this development stuff up here. We've got enough space. So let's click here. Let's hit the enter key once, hit it twice, and then hit it 3 times. And that will move it back to the line data, yeah, the data entry point for the text. And then we hit the delete key. And delete key once and twice will bring that back up nicely. Now you can see the formatting. If we put it side by side, you can see your document is formatted quite nicely. Really, this contact thing could have been down here, right? So we could click here. There's all this blank space, so we're wasting paper. So let's click here. You can see where my mouse cursor is, right where my mouse is right now. It's right here. We can hit the delete key and bring that up. And then you've got system requirements. That can even fit there. But really, this logo, we need to put that onto the next page. We have to move it here. So we click on the left side of the logo, and then we go to insert page break, and then that will break the page here and move all the content to this part here. So I like to try and minimize the amount of printing the customer is doing. That saves pages, that saves ink, and I know it's being a bit picky, but you know, if you can save paper, then that's a good thing. 9 times out of 10, I told my customers not even to print this. It's a PDF file that I'm going to send to them. So I'm going to show you that how we save this document as a PDF file. Really, we don't want to send this Word document to a customer, or we really want to send them a PDF version of it, basically, right? Because they can't edit it afterwards. So let's do some more interesting things. Let's click down the bottom here and let's zoom right into here. And I'm going to copy this title and paste it down to here. And I'm going to write example projects, right? So wouldn't it be nice that if you've done projects before, maybe you want to put a few case studies in here, maybe you want to show some examples of websites that you built for your clients. You want to show some visual representation of what work you've done before. It makes sense, right? And we're going to use a table to do this. So we're going to do 3 on a row, and we're going to insert 2 rows. Let's say we insert 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 4 rows, right? We've got a bit of space to work here. So now we want an image to go here, here, and here. Maybe put the website addresses below. Normally I'll put a few more than this example, but let's show you how to use tables and then insert images into tables. So let's minimize this, and inside of this folder on my desktop, so I've got this folder right here. I'm going to open it, and really I've got this catering logo, so I don't really, we'll leave it there for now just so that you can see it. But I'm going to right click and insert a new folder. I'm going to call it example projects, right? So inside example projects, let's just right align that. Let's get the website back up. Let's close these here. So we're back to my website. Let's drag it to this side, and let's go to the portfolio, and we'll take a few projects. So let's say this We Breathe Media. Let's take this image and drag it here, and then we'll go back. We'll take this. Let's take some examples here. Let's do Star Wars shop, right? We'll drag this one. We'll do 6 of them. Let's do this coffee shop one. So maybe you want to show some diversity, or maybe you want to show consistency, right? Depending on what the client is, what sort of work you're doing. Let's use the AV one that we were using before. Actually, that's the document that we're writing for them, so that really wouldn't exist at this point in time. We use this gory chiropractor. That's 4. We want a couple more. So we want window shading is a good one, and then maybe we'll use let's do cafe bite right here. So we've got these example projects. We're going to lay them out inside the document. So let's go back to the Word document, and let's drag and drop this cafe bite into the table cell. So when we drag and drop it, you can see the image is massive, right? It's got a high resolution. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is really resize this picture. So let's click on it. We'll click on the picture, and when you click on it, you should get these little handles at the bottom, top, right, all around the edges. In this bottom right one, we're going to click on it and drag the picture in. As we drag it in, the table will get moved up again, because that picture can now fit nicely inside of this table. But still, you can see these columns here are much more narrow than this one here. So we're going to drag it and keep dragging it, and we're going to make it smaller. Something around this side, there's a gap on the sides here. We want to leave a little bit of spacing, maybe a bit bigger, something like this. So we click on this picture, copy it, press Ctrl C or right click copy, and go to this one here and paste it. And we're going to highlight all of these rows, highlight all of them and center align them. Click center align, so all the images will be center aligned. Let's click on this picture, right click, go to change picture from file, and then we can click on the second picture and click insert. And then we'll click on this picture, which is very important. We'll click on this picture, copy it and paste it here. Then we'll select that one, right click, change picture from file, and we'll select this one and insert it. Then we can copy this one, and we leave a gap here, right, a row gap, and we're going to paste it here, and paste it here. Click this one, right click, change picture from file, and we're on number 4. And then we'll do the same for this one quickly, and then we'll click this one, right click, insert from file here. So we've got all the pictures. Why didn't I copy this first one and paste it? This first one, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why it's like this, but it's slightly smaller than all of the other ones. When you copy this one and paste it here, Microsoft does some like formatting to make sure it fits at the height and the width down here. So to fix this first one, all we do is click on this the second one, or any of these, click on it, press Ctrl C to copy, click on this first one. Can you see there's a gap here? There's a little gap here at the bottom, but I click on this one, it's right flush to the table edge. So click on the, copy this one, select it, copy it, click this one, delete it, paste in this one, right click, change format from file or change file, click this first one and insert it. Now they're all consistent sizes. Why it's like that, I'm not 100% sure. I guess Microsoft is just trying to get it to fit consistently on the height. And this first one was kind of a rough guesstimate when we did it, right? And then Microsoft says, well, let me fix it a bit better for you. That's why I have to recut and paste that first one. Let's press Ctrl S to save. This table, we don't actually want to see it. So let's click on it. Let's go to the drop down menu here and select no borders. And now we've got a nice consistent layout here, right? If you want a bigger gap between them, you can click here. You can right click, insert a row, and then you'll have a bit of a larger gap, which I think looks a little bit better, right? And you could put the website addresses underneath each one. But wouldn't it be nice if you click on the picture and it goes to the relevant website? Because I'm showcasing my work. So these could be testimonials from your clients. These could be examples of building projects you've done. These could be like rooms in houses that you've decorated if you're a decorator. These could be lots of different things in your business, right? That have to be what I've done. Let's try one thing. Let's highlight all of this data and let's left align it. Let's see what that looks like. I'm not convinced that looks any better, so let's highlight it again, and middle line I think looks better. This first picture, we're going to click on it and go back to my website. Let's close this. So here on this is the last one that we picked. So I'm going to click view website, and that takes me to the website that I built for the client. So this is Cafe Bar. It's a cafe. It's quite similar to the other project we're looking at before, similar sort of logic, but just a different type of business, right? And we're going to click up here and copy this URL, copy it, and we'll minimize, click on this picture, right click on it, and then go to insert a link here, and then we'll paste in that link here, and we'll click OK. This one's for the gory. We might as well do all of them, might as well make it consistent. So we'll click the back arrow. We want to find that chiropractor is, let's just, chiropractor, where is it? Here it is. We'll click this one. We'll go down here, click on the website. This is how that website looks. It's nice as well. We'll click up here, select it, copy it. We'll click on this one, right click, insert link, paste it. So when we create the PDF document, the customer or the person that's viewing this particular document will be able to click on these and go and see the websites. All right? So we might write up here, example projects, click image to view a website, right? Website. I don't like that as a title like this, so I'm going to delete all of this, hit the enter key, go to the home, set it to normal font, and then make it a bullet, just as like a call to action to say click the images below, click images to view websites, right? Something like that. So let's finish off these. This one here was the coffee shop. So let's go back to the website. Let's close this. Let's find that coffee shop one. Here it is. This won't take long. Let's click here. Let's copy this. And then we'll just right click, insert link, paste it into the address here. And then we've got We Breathe Media. That one's easy to find. It's right at the very top here. And we'll go to view website. This is a nice website as well I've built. It's got some nice video stuff going on in here and it's looking pretty cool. So, you know, if you want to, let's go back here. We don't want that. Let's copy this. Right click, insert, paste it here. Then we've got window shadings and Jedi rope. So let's close this one. Go back. Jedi robe is right here. Let's do that one. This is like a Star Wars shop that I built for my client. So it's all costumes and all that good stuff is in here. So if you like Star Wars stuff, go and check that one out. Right click, link, paste it in here, and then we've got window shadings left. So let's do that one. Imagine this is how I'm doing it for my clients, right? When I'm building projects for documentation. Obviously, it doesn't take this long for me to do. I'm having to explain everything to you as I'm doing it, so it takes a lot longer to explain while I'm building it. But once this document is done, really you just got to change a few pictures, change a little bit of text, and you can make a whole new document very, very quickly. All right? So you can imagine if you're, let's just say you're a decorator or you're a building construction company. Let's say you're a decorator, right? And the client's asking you to paint their kitchen. Would it make sense that all of these projects show pictures of bedrooms and bathrooms and gardens and all of these other things that are not related to painting a kitchen? So it would be nice if you showed photographs here of kitchens that you've done. And when people click on those, it may take them to your website where you can see lots more examples of kitchens that you've completed for your customers. So if you can get the customer to see visual representations of your work, if it's possible, it's a nice way to convey a message about the quality of the end result that they can expect. Here we've still got this catering line. I think I pasted it in twice, so we can just delete this one. We don't need it. So if we zoom right out and we get to like a 3-page Let's get to like a 3-page view. Now we can see the consistency in our documentation. And we've created tables, we've created bullet lists, we've formatted out a page with some pictures nicely in there, right? So normally at the end of this document, I'll be putting things like terms and conditions and privacy policy, but I'm not going to do that today. I just want to show you a couple of other things that you can do, right? So let's zoom in on this page too, and we'll copy this title, and we'll just write down here why. Let's write free access to over 500 plus video tutorials, and then we'll do a bullet, and then we'll go to here, and let's open a new tab, and we'll go to my YouTube channel. So this is my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I do videos on loads of different things: After Effects, video editing, 3D animation, formatting documents, cropping images, cutting out backgrounds, anything you can think of where my knowledge is there. I've done a tutorial on that, and I'm going to continue to do that. Got up to 18,000 subscribers, so come and join and start learning something new. Click on the playlist. When you click on the playlist, you can see examples, and they're all categorized into playlists, right? You've got stuff to do with Gmail, 3D animation, video editing, PayPal stuff, After Effects, LibreOffice. That's like Microsoft, bit similar to this. You've got GIMP video editing, YouTube stuff. There's loads of different playlists here with all different types of content. But the reason I came here is I want to click here. I'll get rid of featured and copy this URL, and we'll click here and paste it. So this is free access to over 500 video tutorials. Now it would be nice if I can actually show some video tutorials in this document. So maybe I can entice the customer to go and watch some tutorials. 9 times out of 10, I'm building all those tutorials to show the competence and skill and knowledge that I have. So if you've got a YouTube channel and you're a decorator or you're a business and you can show someone how to fix a crack in the wall, it's a nice simple job for them to understand and how to do. It's not like they're going to hire you to come and fix one little crack in their wall, right? And how to paint it cleanly and how to do that. So the types of materials and the things that you use, you can show your customer that, share your knowledge, and then you can get more customers that way because they can see that you have experience. So what we do is save this document. We're going to insert a table, and maybe we do two in a row, and we're going to do maybe 1, 2, 3. We'll do 8 rows for now. Let's click here and let's go to insert, and we're going to insert let's see, online video. So we'll click here and it's going to say YouTube. So when you click here, it might pop up a message saying, are you sure you want to allow this Facebook to access YouTube and stuff? You can just type in, yeah, that's okay. And we're typing DCP web here. You can type in your own company name, search term, and we'll hit enter. It's going to return all of the videos, right? It's going to return loads of the videos that I've worked on, a lot of the projects. Sometimes it will return other things that are not related to my business, but a lot of times it's going to return things because my company name is DCP Web, and that's what I've tagged a lot of my videos. So let's say we want to do something simple, like let's say I don't know, Facebook, something related to Facebook, right? So we'll click here and we'll click insert. Then it's got this Facebook tutorial, and we might shrink this down a little bit like we did before to around this size, and then we'll click here and we will center align it, and then we can insert another one here. So let's go to, and you'll find this is quite interesting, right? So let's go to insert. Maybe we can just copy this one. Let's copy it and paste it. Let's see if we can change it somehow. Let's click here and let's try and center align all of them. Maybe we can just right click and format this somehow. Maybe we do edit link. So here we can paste in a link, right? Let's see if we can double click this. Can't double click it. I don't know if changing the link will change the thumbnail. Let's see if that happens. Let's see what happens, right? So let's go to here. Let's go to videos. So we did one about Facebook. Maybe we'll do one about let's say installing GIMP software, right? This is just random, so it doesn't really matter too much. So let's click share and let's copy this link. Let's see what happens. I'm curious because I haven't done that before this way. So let's right click, edit link, and then let's paste in this link. This has got like a watch element onto it, right? So let's click here. So I've pasted this link into YouTube, like into a notepad file. I'm just going to copy the ID from here and let's paste that into the end here. Let's get rid of this end part here and paste it and click OK. So it didn't really change the thumbnail. It's a little bit disappointing. It would have been nice if it changed the thumbnail automatically, so we can't do it that way. So let's delete this and let's go to insert another one, video from YouTube. We'll type in DCP web, hit enter. We can pick anyone here. It doesn't really proofread content without ever reading a single word. That's a good one, right? So really want these to be consistent. I'm not sure if there's an easy way to do that. I guess we could just eyeball it and resize it. That's pretty much the same, right? And let's insert a couple more. Let's do all of them. So let's do insert online video, DCP web, hit enter, and we'll do this video editing one, and let's just eyeball that. We'll drag it and we try and get them consistently sized. There might be, let's click here, let's in fact highlight the whole table and just make sure we center align it so they're consistent. Maybe we can click on this, right click, go to format picture. Let's see, we could copy these and paste them down, but that's proper long, right? So let's just eyeball it. Doesn't matter if they're not exactly the same, but we'll try and get the widths exactly the same, as close as possible. Let's just do 4. I don't want to make this long-winded, so let's do insert video. We'll do 4 for now. You can add 20 there if you wanted to, and we'll do something like let's find something interesting. Let's use this one, right? Insert. Slightly different. It's got a picture in it, so it makes it a bit more visual. It's inconsistent. I don't like that. Let's do insert. I'm very picky me when it comes to formatting and layout. Let's just use the clone tool one, right? Let's escape from there. So the nice thing about this, if this was a Word document, what you could do is actually create a Word document with just video tutorials, and you could actually send that to the client as a Word document, and they can click on this button and they don't even have to leave Microsoft Word. You can just click play here. Let's just mute it, and all of a sudden you're not going to YouTube, you're not doing anything, you've just sent the client a Word document. Here's some examples of projects I've completed for my clients recently. You upload them to YouTube. It might be like some before and after examples of a property refurbishment or something like that. And they can go straight in here. They can click expand. They can click on YouTube here. You can't actually expand it full screen. You have to click on the YouTube link, and then it will actually open the full video in YouTube where you can expand it and see it full screen if you wanted to. But I think it's quite interesting that you can actually add the video directly into a YouTube page, right? Now, one thing to note, if I click save here, we're pretty much done now. There's not much else to explain. Well, to be honest, there's a lot more to explain. There's things like one thing we want to do actually here is click on the table and then go to the table, go to home, click the drop down and say no borders, right? We don't want borders around it. So this is nice and clean and consistent now. So at least the customer, if I sent this quote to my customer, they can see a lot of information now. It's got good layout. Plus, we're giving them incentive, right? You can access 500 video tutorials. The whole idea of that is that they go there and they can see that the company's been well established, and we share a lot of our knowledge. We're not hiding our knowledge. We're not keeping it to ourselves. We've got over 500 videos on YouTube. We want to share our knowledge. We want to help you to make your business better. That's what we want to do. We can do that in many different ways, right? Not just web. We can look at social media and editing and help you to gain more skills. That's the idea of uploading these tutorials. So one thing I want to do is actually close this document for a minute. So we're going to close it, and it's going to say you have modified styles, building blocks such as converted pages, headers, or other content that's stored in building blocks.doc. Do you want to change the building blocks.doc? I'm going to say no. Just say don't save. So in here, I've got the template that we created. So what I'm going to do is create a new folder and call it 00 template. And if I press F5, it will refresh and put that at the very, very top, right? And I'm going to create another folder, and I'm going to call that 01 client projects. And then I'll press F5 on my keyboard, and that will stack it right underneath. And then this template, I'm going to click on it and make a copy. I'm going to right click, drag it here and copy it here. So now I've got an archive of that template. And this one, I'm going to drag it into client projects here. And I'm also going to drag this example projects into here. And really the logo and the other stuff, the logo I can probably drag that into template because that's the one that I used. This one was just one I was showing you how to crop it out, so I'm just going to delete that. I don't really need that, right? So inside templates, I've got a master template and the logo, and everything, if I click on it, everything is formatted out for me automatically, all the headers, everything, all of the structure. So if I want to come and do another project that is a web design project, maybe it's a different one, maybe it's for e-commerce or something different, I can use this as a structure now. So imagine if you're a decorating company and you want to do painting for a house, and in here, instead of saying website specification, you can say painting requirements and paint the bedroom and the bathroom and all these things. You can bullet list them, right? And other requirements, they want to use Dulux paint in the gloss paint in the bathroom and in the kitchen, so it can easily be wiped. And they want to do wallpapering somewhere, and you know, they want to put floorboards down or whatever it might be. You can have other requirements, and then maybe you can list the manufacturers or the products that you're planning on purchase, because they say, look, we want you to quote us not only to do the job, but we want you to quote us for the materials. So this could be talking about materials here possibly, right? And then other requirements like maybe they want to do something outdoors, and you might write, so you know, this particular job can only be done in the summertime or whatever it might be, some type of requirement. Then here you can have some detailed information about maybe the type of paint that you're using, or maybe the time scales for the duration of development. Really, I didn't write anything about duration in here. Normally in my documents I would state like the project's going to last this long, it's going to take this long to deliver this project, should I say. Here you can write detailed or specific information about the related costs. Some might be to do with labor, and other things might be to do with the materials that you're purchasing, right? And here you can show examples of work that you've completed. Some examples of work that you completed, visual, so you can click in or go to your website and showcase the gallery. Even better than that, you could show them videos. You could do videos of before and after. I think the best way that something like a painting decorating company or some sort of business can showcase their business is to show what the website looked like after and what it looks like now, or what the kitchen looked like after and what it looks like now. Photographs are nice, but if you can do that in video format as well, it's so much better. Then you can combine those elements on your website. You can have a little gallery of pictures, and if you can incorporate some video into that as well, so people can just see, look, these are not random pictures that you've taken, this is real life footage that you've taken yourself, then that makes your business a little bit more unique. I think you're doing something probably better than what your competitors are doing, right? You're going that one level above them, let's say. So let's close this document for the moment. That was the template, and we can reuse that template. We should really name this template template space website, because it's to do with website, right? So I might create another copy of this, copy it here, and I might call it template logo design, right? Logo design, and I'll get rid of this word copy. And why am I doing this? So imagine a client comes to me and says, I don't need a website, I just want a logo design. So then I've got a separate template laid out for logo design. Now obviously I need to go in here. Project name is still a project name. Project type will be, I would rename that to logo design. The domains I might still leave in there because the client might want me to reference them. Normally domains, don't really need them for logos, right? But all of this stuff can get stripped out. Most of these things can get stripped out, and all I'll be left with is the logo information and the cost. Now I've got a template that I can use for logo design projects. Just like you might have a template that you want to use for example, decorating a kitchen, or decorating a bedroom or a bathroom, or installing a kitchen. You might have one that's to do with kitchen installation and one for decorating separated, right? Because if you look at my business, if we go back to my website, let's close these YouTubes. If we go back to my website and we click on services, you can see it's broken down into website design, and those have subcategories, right? So I might have a separate template for lead generation. I might have a separate template for e-commerce, because these two things are different. Really, these three elements are different. I might have one specifically for WordPress web design. Then I get to graphic design. I might have a generic template for graphic design, a top level one document. Then I have one that's specific for logos, banners and newsletters. And same with internet marketing. I might have a generic internet marketing document for quotes, because they want lots of different things. But then I might have one that's specific about SEO, search engine optimization, social media, content writing and video production. So this is how you can create lots of different documents. And imagine if you had to create them from scratch every single time that you wanted to document something, you're going to be there for a long, long time. Build structure, and once you have that structure and you're happy with it, you can reuse them many, many, many times. Let's take a look at an example of that. Let's go back here. You notice that we've got a logo design template and we've got a website one, right? And we've got this new client that we're doing this project for in this demonstration project or this demonstration example. We've got what have we got here? We've got client projects, and inside projects we've got example projects. These were really these thumbnails that we created, right? But what I'll normally do is open up this template and I'll copy the name Simplicity. I'll copy this, and normally I'll just paste it into a notepad file. So I've got it for reference. So it will be Simplicity AV space dash space, and then it will be the type of project, and then it will be space, and then it will be the date. And I just normally type that in like 17th 11 2019. So I'll copy this information, close down the Word document, and then just rename it, and it will be renamed Simplicity AV. That's the customer's name, right? Custom DCP custom system. So it tells me what type of project it is. It tells me when I did the date it, and what version it is. So all I need to do now is right click, create a new folder, and just get rid of the date here. And then any information related to this project can go into this directory. So the specification will go there, and the example projects will go there, right? Now imagine if I'm doing another project for a new client, and that client is called, let's just call it, I don't know, let's look at my portfolio. Let's not make one up. Let's go here. Let's say we're doing one for, let's see, what's a good example? Let's do Pretty Bean, right? So I've built this project. This is actually done now. So I'll copy this name, just copy it, Pretty Bean Coffee. It's going to be similar to this AV, it's a similar type of system. So we just right click, copy here, and then click inside here. And then all we'll do is change the name at the beginning to Pretty Bean Coffee, delete this. And then when we go inside, we can order it by, it happens to be on the same day, right? But when we go inside and we edit this document, and we change this Simplicity AV to Pretty Bean Coffee, and let's say that we worked on that project tomorrow, it's the 18th. We change the date here to the 18th, and we finish that document on the same day, right? So we open it, we change the date here quickly to the 18th. That's what it is. It's not Simplicity AV, it's Pretty Bean Coffee. So when you paste from other sources, you can see the formatting has changed here. So to fix that, there's a couple of ways. What you can do is just copy it really from a notepad file, and then when you paste it here, it will be consistent, right? And we might put a capital B there, and it's still a DCP CMS system. I'll change the domains here, I'll change the logic here for what it is. We can even go and look at that project quickly. Let's just have a quick look at it. Click website, and in here it would say the navigation would say something different, right? It would say something like home, coffee van hire, ice cream van hire, news, and contact us. So that's what the navigation would be. But you can, what I'm trying to help you to understand is you don't have to go and do this whole document from the beginning again. Just put in the domains, change this, change the system requirements. Here's the contact form. You can go to the website, and you will notice that in the contact page, the form is slightly, well, it's got enter your name. Let's just continue here. It's got enter your name, email address, phone number, and message. So we just slightly change this. There's no company needed. We can just delete that, and that's it. It's job done. You've built the whole contact form section by deleting one row. This all stays the same. They may or may not want a logo. If they want a logo, you can just leave this as it is. Then the website quote might change because there's less work, right? And then most of this information you can just leave in here. And then even these examples you can leave in here. And even the video things you can leave in here, or you can change them every so often. It's entirely your choice. So we can close that, and that will be another project done. That's for this Pretty Bean Coffee website. That project is done, right? So you can see how you can quickly reuse the content in your Word document if you get consistency correct. Format it once right, get it done correct, make it your template, and then just copy and paste the directory and rename it. Let's go to this Simplicity AV. Let's say that we've finished this project documentation. We want to send it to the client now. We don't want to send them the Word document because they can go in, open this, and start changing things inside of it. It's not their job to change the information inside of it. That's your job to change the quote and the specification, right? So we're going to go to File, and we're going to say Save as PDF, Save as Adobe PDF. Click here. and then we're just going to save it in the same directory. It will pick the same location, but it will be a .pdf file. Let's click save. It takes a little bit of time to convert and do that all. We'll close this and we'll close the Word document. Now you've got a PDF file version and you've got a Word version. The PDF you send to the client, and if they want to change anything, all you do is make a copy of this, paste it down here, and then we just press F2 to edit it. We'll get rid of the Word copy, and let's say that they've come back to you in 2 days time. You change that to the 19th and you change the end number to 02, right? Because it will be a second version. It will sit underneath. Then you open it, you make whatever changes it is, and just say they wanted I don't know, an about us page here, for example, right? About us, small thing, but they want it. We said it was the 19th. We'll change it to the 19th here. We'll save it, go to file, PDF, save this. It's a second version now, a small change, may not even change the price, just a small thing. Let's close it. Now we've got 2 PDFs. You sent that to them on the 17th. They came back to you on the 18th. They say they wanted something different. You make a copy, so you've got the original document. So if you ever have to refer back and say to the client, that's originally what we sent to you. This is the revised version. Even if the cost hasn't changed, it's a revision, right? And then we send them this version. When they open it, everything is the same. Sometimes it's nice to highlight information that you've changed in the document, just so the customer doesn't have to read through the whole thing again to find out what you've changed. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. But if we click on Simplicity AV here, it will load up the website. Here it is, right? If we scroll down and if we click on this phone number validation, it will take the customer straight to that page. So this could be examples of maybe the Dulux Paint website, for example, where they can pick colors and all that good stuff. We'll scroll down and we'll click on this catering land. We'll click on it and it says, do you want to allow access for this link to be allowed? You just click allow and it will load up the catering land website as an example, right? And we can click on the video here. Now with the video, it won't play directly in the PDF file. So when we click on it, it will actually open and take you to the tutorial on the YouTube channel, which I think is a nice thing anyway. Right, so you can give your customers some examples of work that you've done previously. Maybe it's a case study, maybe it's a testimonial, maybe it's examples of you doing some painting, decorating. For me, it's tutorials. I want to share the knowledge. So I'll put tutorials in here. Maybe I could probably fit 20 pages of tutorials in here because I've got over 500. But I'll put a little example and say, go to my YouTube channel and you can view the rest of them yourself, right? And maybe I'll change this every so often. Or I'll think about what the client is. If this client is to deal with, let's say the education company, right? Imagine if I'm doing work, I'm doing a proposal for an education company, specification, proofread content without and never read a single word. That might relate directly to the client because they're an education company. They have to write lots of content. How can I proofread all of my content without ever reading a single word? Well, click this video and go and watch it and you can find out. And I might put other things in here related to what the client does. So when they see this, they kind of relate to it a bit more, right? If it's got video editing in there and they're, I don't know, a painting and decorating company, it may not relate to them so much. But if I put one here to say how to create a custom gallery on your Facebook page, that might relate to them because now they can go to their Facebook page and create a gallery to do with kitchen installations or bathroom refurbishment or whatever it might be, right? So you've got to think about what things you put in your document as well. Okay, that's a lot of talking, isn't it? Let's minimize this and let's just do a quick summary. Let's close this. One thing I said I'll show you is if we open up this Word document, if you make a change between version 1 and version 2, if you just want to highlight the change, so it's just a simple thing like add about us page, you can use the highlight tool here and I'll highlight yellow. So when I email back my client, I'll create a PDF version of this. Let's create a PDF version. Normally the update would be a lot more things than that potentially, but it might just be that. And when I email this back to my client, in the email I'll say to them, please find version 2 of this document. It says 02 at the end. It's got today's date, right? Consistency in the document. It's got today's date as well. And I say all content highlighted in yellow are updates. So when they look at this document, they'll know that version 1 was everything that was as it was. And if they scroll through here, they can see, okay, in this document is the about us. And they remember speaking to me on the phone saying I want an about us page, and they see it in there, right? Consistency and clear documentation is so important when you're working on web projects, any type of project, I believe. Okay, so that is fundamentally how I use Microsoft Word. Now, obviously, there's a lot more in Microsoft Word, but we can only get through so many things in one tutorial. You can probably see this tutorial as being quite long as it is right now. And I'm going to be making more tutorials afterwards, but this is really the fundamentals, you could say. And there's lots of other things you can do in Microsoft Word, but I'm going to leave them as separate, smaller, bite-sized tutorials. This is really the core fundamentals that I use every day. This is how I go about creating good specifications, good documentation. It doesn't need to look fancy, it needs to be functional for me, right? If you want fancy pictures and all that stuff in the background, I'm going to show you that in future tutorials, how to add watermarks behind your document and how to do lots of other different things inside your document, how to do like 3-page columns like in a newspaper and stuff like this. We'll do that in future tutorials, right? But this is just the core fundamentals. So you can take this logic and apply it to your business. You can apply it to coursework. So if you're doing coursework for university or college and you want structure inside your document, this is a nice way to structure it, right? Formatting is going to be very, very quick and it's consistent. That's quite key. So if you present your documents well to your customers or to your university lecturer, whoever it might be, if it looks consistent and it's easy to read and you can see the formatting is nice and it's clean, this is going to help you to get either better marks or help you to get a project award, getting a commission for a project. Okay, let's close this. I think I've done enough talking for today. I hope you find this tutorial useful. If you've got any questions, feel free to write a comment in the YouTube or the Facebook commenting. If you want me to do something very specific, like if you find something in Microsoft Word and you're not sure how to do it, if you can describe that in the commenting, I will try and find out how to do that and make a video so that we can share that knowledge with everyone. I hope you find this tutorial useful and I look forward to seeing you in the next DCP web tutorial.